Good evening, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. And I'm glad to certainly be here to be able to talk about important issues. We bring you very, very important issues. We don't hold back. We bring you issues of importance because we know that these are the things that we're going to need to be able to educate our people so that our people will be able to adjust to this changing society. So I'm very thankful to be in front of you. We pray to God, the beneficent, the merciful, master of the day and requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we serve along. The beneficent, the merciful God, guide us on the right path, the path of righteousness, not as the hypocrites, but as righteous people on a righteous mission to fulfill your will. And we're thankful, and by faith, we know that God will do this. We know that God will deliver us. Brothers and sisters, we have to discuss and talk about this plane crash and talk about the people that were on the plane crash. This is very, very, very important. We have to talk about this. And if we don't keep this in front of people, exactly what is happening, then we'll lose our purpose. We know who's in office now. We'll lose our purpose for informing people. We'll lose the edge that we have. If we don't keep things in front of you, we'll lose the edge that we have to keep you enlightened and to keep you focused. As the world says, keep you woke. But I don't want you just woke. I want you awake so that you can see these things as they're happening. Our job is to tell you the truth. It's to tell you the truth, and truth will overturn lies. So we have to tell you the truth and overturn these lies. So much is going on around you, and if you don't know exactly, or if it isn't explained to you as it's happening, then you'll think it's no big issue, no real deal, no real big deal. But it is. It is a big situation. The things that are happening around us are serious situations. Very, very serious situations are happening around us. And these are very big things. It's not something that we want to overlook. And we don't care how small it is. We don't want you to overlook anything small either. Because you have to know what's going on around you. We have to educate the people. Now, let's talk about the people that was on this helicopter crash. And you know, at first sight, when you look at it, it's no big deal. You say, well, helicopter and plane crash, and maybe it was the airspace and how much time did they have. But when you look and you find out how much time they actually had, you find that the helicopter was hovering. The helicopter itself was hovering in a space, had plenty of time to move, and didn't move. Didn't move. So we have to pay attention and exercise intelligence to understand that a lot of stuff is happening today. It's organized, and who knows who was on that flight and what the mission was. Everybody wasn't ice skaters. But there were Asian ice skaters on their multicultural skating team. There was a black lawyer. This is what I believe we should be paying attention to. The multiculturalism, the focus. The black lawyer that was killed. A civil rights attorney who were fighting against the system. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. Fighting against the system. Fighting against the system. And fighting against the administration, the present administration. A civil rights attorney. We're going to talk about her. We'll talk about her. But there's a lot going on that you don't know about. If you keep your eyes closed, you'll never know it. That's why you have to open your eyes to everything that's going on, brothers and sisters. You have to open your eyes to everything that's going on. You know, it's one of the things I appreciate about the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that he told the black man to keep his eyes open, watch as well as pray. The black preachers used to preach that. Used to have a lot of black preachers preach that. The Apostolic Church, I know, still preach it. And but I think outside of that, these are the only ones that's really teaching that. The Pentecostal Church teaches it. All the holiness churches, majority of them teach this. But if you got free will and other than full gospel, they're not teaching it. They're not telling the quote unquote Christian, the black Christian. I say that because I know what you really are. You're believers, you're saints. But when you say Christian, that means, see, the white man, he has something different in mind when he says Christian. You got the same thing in your mind that he has in his mind, right? Then it's the wrong thing. Because he beat your ancestors in subjection to being Christian. So he beat you and got you used to trusting him. You didn't trust him before. He beat that into you. He beat religion into you. His religion. His religion. His version of the God that you and I serve. He beat that in you. So many of you are serving in faiths that your foreparents were beat in. So it stopped you from exercising your own mental intelligence. So that's why I'm telling you, psychological acuity. That's why I'm telling you that. Because in you is a discernment to know when something is wrong. When something is wrong, in you is that discernment. When you, to notice something's wrong, even though you can't put your finger on it. In black people, period, that power is in you because you are the true believers and saints of God, right? But there was a purpose, the purpose of the crash, and it was blown off. It was blown off. It was blown off. You have to think about it. I'm trying to type this in as well, answer questions that are being asked concerning the purpose of the crash of the Potomac. Crash, I should say the purpose of the crash of the Potomac. So there's a lot that you don't know. And you need to open your eyes. You need to open your eyes and your ears. You know, it's too late in the game. And for black people to be fussing and needling each other over small stuff. We fuss and needle each other over small things. Brothers and sisters, all of this is really against you. All of this is against you. I mean, you have to understand that. Today is the Mexican. Tomorrow is back to you. Many of you feel like you got your white friends and all that. And I'm not against that. You may have some. It may really exist. I don't believe it, but just because I don't believe it don't mean it's not so. But I tell you, white friends have gotten you killed in the past. So that's just something to think about. A lot of your white friends have gotten you killed in the past. A lot of your white friends have blamed you for things you weren't responsible for. These are your white friends. So I tell you, with those kind of friends, who need enemies? I mean, you got to be wise. But think for yourself. What's going on? What is going on? What is behind this crash? Right? There was a civil rights attorney. We got to bring her up because this is one of ours. And she's working on the case. She was working on the case, and the present case against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, see, and I want to say this, a little reckoning to it too. You need to be careful. You need to be careful about letting white folks put you in the middle of their mess. And I'm talking to a lot of our sisters because you'll allow that. You will allow that. And I love you enough to tell you. I don't have anything to lose. I love you enough to tell you. What was the true purpose behind this helicopter crash? When you review the tape or the recording of that crash, and you view it, I mean, you see the helicopter had plenty of time to get out of the way. Why didn't it move? I don't know. But somebody was on a mission. Right or wrong? Somebody was on a mission. Now, also, there's a lawyer. We're going to talk about her. we're going to talk about the civil and human rights attorney, the young lawyer who was there taking the flight. Not going to talk about where she was going. I don't want to put other people in trouble, but I know this for a fact. Her name was Kia Duggins. You remember her because she was Miss Kansas contestant for the Miss America. But she's also a civil rights attorney. And she was among the 67 victims of the crash that were killed. Right? I want you to look at prime racism and what it actually is. And I'm saying that because I know some of you are like, well, that's far reaching. But to that, I say this. If an American president can be killed in broad daylight, such as they did John F. Kennedy, John F. Kennedy was shot in broad daylight. It was wiped out. If you can wipe out that level, of how do we put it? If you can wipe out that level of death, if you can wipe that out, you can wipe anything out. And to this day, even though they know who did it, because it came from the government, we still don't know who killed John F. Kennedy. Not on paper. But many of you are intelligent enough to understand the height of the maneuver of this. Here's a man, wealthy. He had really wouldn't affect him one iota, whether blacks receive civil rights or not. But his moral judgment as a commander-in-chief of this country and corporation called America made him responsible. Now, in saying that, I want to say this. John Kennedy was killed because his plans didn't go along with the investors' plans for America. And they didn't think at that time that black people should get accelerated rights. Now, you don't have any rights. You don't have any civil rights. You don't have it. That's the reason you're in the trouble that you're in today. You don't have any rights. But I believe this crash was organized to kill Kia Duggins, who was a civil rights attorney working on a case against Donald Trump. They had a lot of clout. But the fact that she was a black attorney working on this case, and with the changing environment, it posed a strong threat to Donald Trump. So she's just one of the pawns in the game, right, of this war. Just one of the pawns. And there were Asians that were killed. This stuff was racially motivated. The coaches of the Asians that were killed. Everybody on the plane. It's a utopian seating pattern. So many instances. And I know you said that's far reaching, but no, it isn't. When you look at who we have as president and what it would mean to him and the investors behind him for somebody black to be killed, lynching just for personal gratification. Because if you look, that helicopter had plenty of time to move. We have to investigate. And if I'm wrong, then give me another answer. Give me another angle. Tell me. I'll listen. If you tell me, I'll listen. But something is very wrong. Something is very wrong with that crash. Something's very wrong with that crash. And we have to pay attention, brothers and sisters. We can't fool ourselves. It's time out for us to be fooling ourselves. We need to open our eyes. Don't be woke, be awake. Be awake to what's happening. Be awake to what's happening. Know the truth. And this truth will set you free. Will certainly set you free. Know the truth. So we're very saddened at the death of Kia Duncan. Saddened at the death of Kia Duncan. We are sad. Because this climate is racist. And we don't know what's in the work behind the scenes. It's so convoluted with hate and prejudice till we just don't know what is going on. That's a fact. So we gotta fight. We gotta stick together, but we gotta fight hard. We gotta stick together. We gotta fight hard. Only have about 4 minutes left on this because there's some other things we gotta do to catch up on our the shows that we've had. And I've been trying to catch up on them. I was 25 behind. Now I believe I'm down to 4 subjects where we gotta hit. But we gotta do better, brothers and sisters. We gotta work hard. We gotta understand realistically where we are and what kind of threat we pose. Because if they're losing power and they still need you in manpower, they're out of control. And racism can't go any farther than it is. Racism won't work again. It won't work. It just won't work for this system because we have too much ability under this system. And because of technology, we've advanced in a place where we're going to have to understand one another and have to get along. We're going to have to. We don't have to be living with one another just to get along. I don't think that's right. I don't think you should force integrate us relationally. I think that was wrong. And we shouldn't have to be inside of each other's bedroom and kitchen and living room just to get along. Just have a mutual understanding. A mutual understanding, because the white and black man, our courses are different. White people came to this country where Africans already were. They also brought some on a slave ship. And you know, his whole purpose was to survive. His whole purpose was to survive. That's why he killed so many and enslaved so many and chained so many. The white man's purpose was to survive. He didn't bring you along because he loved you. You have to understand that. So he will kill you. And if he has to kill other people, he'll kill them too in the process to kill you. He will kill hundreds just to get one. He will do that. This is the kind of man we're dealing with. This is the kind of man we're dealing with. We're dealing with a nation that killed its own president. John F. Kennedy was killed within America, with the Secret Service around him. If they'll kill Kennedy, they'll kill you. If they'll kill John F. Kennedy, they'll kill you. He was the highest in the land, highest representation of global freedom in the land. But they killed him, shot him down like a dog, with his wife beside him, with Governor Connolly, his escort, shot him. And they were so shrewd in it, they never laid a hand on the wives. But they would be scarred from that forever. Connolly himself was so afraid that he gave unaccredited accounts and sort of just shrugged off this killing. But he knew who did it, and he knew who was involved. Now, Trump has released something. We don't know how much of it is marked out about the death of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Minister Malcolm. We don't know. We don't know how much of it is marked out. We just don't know. But we know. Even if it's not on paper, there are some of us that have the knowledge that know, that understand the process of what is happening. And the effect that it's had on the land. So we need to be in deep prayer, brothers and sisters, and we need to be ready, independent. Black folks, build up your own community. Stay independent and go with God. You got to go with God. When I say peace be unto you, I'm talking about the peace that this world can't give. It's the peace that goes beyond all understanding. All understanding, but anybody with any sense can see that that was a purpose crash. That crash was on purpose. And you had important people on board. There were other people that were important on board. All you got to do is go through and look at it. But that civil rights attorney had a team with her. A young black civil rights attorney working on something that's going to work against Trump. And they got word of it. And you got some bloodthirsty people. I want you to understand that these allies are the same allies of the people who aided him during the storming of the Capitol. And you got dumb brothers and sisters that are still working on this man's behalf. Even our brother Scott. Tim Scott. I just love you, Mr. President. Come on, brother. I mean, at what point do we have dignity enough to say enough is enough? When white folks were saying enough is enough. You got devils saying, hey, you going too far. I mean, at that point, right? Because you got all kinds of devils. You got black devils, white devils, right? Brown devils, Asian devils. The only thing I say about the brown and the black devils, right, are chief demons because they don't have any real power, so they can't do anything anyway. They go along with the man and be devilish, but they're still working in his power. So, brothers and sisters, that's what I wanted to tell you today. We have to pay attention to what's going on. This is serious. This is serious. You know, what's happening today, they will kill whoever they have to kill. And drastic deaths. They don't care what level or anything. The main thing is to be in control of this country or corporation called America. They've got to be in control of it. That's the main thing. They want total control. And this is people behind the scenes. Don't look at the people you see. Look at the people you don't see that's running these operations. That's what you have to be looking at. May God bless and keep you, brothers and sisters. And my desire is that you will be in peace and independent prosperity, and that your faith will be in God. Your faith will be in God. And to get on God's side. Because if you get on God's side, God will be on your side. He's already on your side. He's on the side of the oppressed. He's on the side of the downtrodden. He's on the side of the despised of men, rejected of men. That's where you'll find God. You won't find God with the enemy. You won't find God with the enemy. God's not with the enemy. He's with the oppressed people. He's with the people that are catching it. Right? So you shouldn't be excited when you're master. Because that's what he is. If you beholding him. When he's telling you about God, he can't tell you anything about God. All he knows about is the devil. Because the devil is using him to keep you down. Brothers and sisters, I say to you, I come in peace. And I met you in peace, greeted you in peace. But if I didn't, if you weren't here to hear it, I say it to you now. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.